You know, like those few years I was by the Rebbe, Mamash really changed my whole life, you know. See, when I was in Lakewood, I was so much into learning, I was not into people. And when the Rebbe called me in and he says, you know, he started breaking, he says, I want you to be my partner and got to talk to people. I walked out and I was like a new person. Like, I had this urge, I have to talk to every person on the street. And like, it was crazy, you know? Like, it was on the border of craziness, you know? Took me a little while to balance it out, you know? And one was German a day which was awesome, really like awesome. You know, at that time when I was talking to young people, I wouldn't talk about Ishbitzer or Rav Nachman, other Rebbes, because it was only Lubavitch, straight Lubavitch stuff. And there's a mimer from the Friedrich Rebbe. It says, "V'kibula Yehudim es she'achenu lasos." The Jews continued what they began. Meaning to say, on Purim they continued what they did on Mount Sinai. But the Baal Shem Tov says a different Torah. The Baal Shem Tov says, "Eshehachenu lasos" comes from the word like defiling yourself. Not lasos chun, you know, chun, mundane. He says the Jews realized that they had unholy themselves. They're so holy and they unholy themselves, and they promised to fix it. Well, there's a whole mind. I was learning it. At that time, my top Chavre were students from Columbia University. It's a long, long story. A young doctor, pre-med student, comes up to me and says, "I have to talk to you something very important. I want you to know I'm living with a Catholic girl. And she is mamish Catholic. I love her very much. And basically I promised to marry her, but she really wants me to convert, become a Catholic. But now that I hear that a Jew is so holy, and I don't really want to unholy myself." He says, "What do you think should I do?" I say, "I'll call up the Rebbe." At that time I had free access to the Rebbe. I called up the Rebbe and I said to him, "Listen, here's this young doctor standing next to me. And we just learned the Rebbe's Rebbe's Torah, the Kibbulah Yehudim, and he doesn't know what to do with himself at this point. And you know, the Rebbe doesn't shoot right away. He says, wait, let me think." Waiting on the phone, you know. It's very special, you know, the Rebbe's on the other side of the wire and you're standing here. At that time the phone was down here. I was over the Chavre here, and I was standing shuffling away. And he would say, "What does he say?" Say, "Wait, say it yet." The Rebbe says, "Tell him to go home and not to worry." This is strange. Call me back later. 3 o'clock in the morning he calls me. He says, "You know, it's not to be believed. I came home and there was a letter on the table from the girl that she has to go to Boston because her father needs her, and she will call me from Boston." And she never called me. It was awesome. It was awesome. Anyway, l'chaim. You see, I want you to know something. The world has vessels for mediocre people. For unbelievable people who want us always trouble. Don't know how to take it, right? So it was crazy. Lubavitch Rebbe, all mamish people who really, his followers, all mamish people who were angry, probably because they couldn't stand it, right? Because it's too much for them, right? Too much. Remember, the Ishbitzer says people are not afraid of darkness. People are frightened of light. Mamash frightened. Okay, what could I say? Mamash.
Yeah. There's something I have to understand.
Yeah.
Beforehand, Rebbe don't tell people what to do, they just give you the cause, strength, to do whatever it is. But at the same token, he just told us enough stories where basically, well, put on tefillin and everything come on okay. So
that's already a different Torah. It's already like this. The schus of the mitzvah that should happen. Sometimes, humanly speaking, it's very crazy. Sometimes, you see, I don't know the way they operate in heaven, right? Sometimes it's a gift. Imagine I walk into Macy's and I want to buy a suit for $500, and I say, I have exactly $498. Forget the $2. They would say, this is not the Salvation Army. $500 is not even $499.98. It has to be $500, right? Sometimes in heaven, it has to be so much schus, so many good deeds in order for you to get it. But sometimes it's a gift, But you have to be a rebbe to know this. Sometimes, let's say this Yid, his son was sick. Obviously, he needed one more strong mitzvah to have the privilege of having his son alive. What do we know, right?
So maybe the rebbe is supposed to maybe open a path, right? It's not just give the talk, but also give a little direction.
Everything. What do I know,